Washington 3. This ABC Sports exclusive is also being brought to you tonight by Datsun, where you'll find that in all the 1981 Datsuns, the greatest economy of all is quality. And by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. We'll be ready for the second half kickoff. The Denver Broncos and the Washington Redskins after this word from our local stations.
Jack gets caught with Janet's sister and a bad alibi.
Now here's the truth.
But it's a different story on Taxi when Latka takes over Louie's job. Then, somebody's after the world's greatest chefs with a recipe for murder on Heart to Heart.
Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports at a special earlier time. In the air, high-flying daredevil pilots. In the water, the world's best divers go a long way to splash down. On the land, the World Cycling Championships. And on NCAA college football, the #1 ranked Crimson Tide headlines a great afternoon of football. Alabama at Tennessee, Washington at Stanford, Houston at SMU, Brigham Young at Utah State. Check local listings for the game in your area. NCAA college football and ABC's Wide World of Sports Saturday.
Bronco coach Red Miller wasted little time tonight, replacing Matt Robinson, the young quarterback, for the veteran Craig Morton. Craig Morton coming in at the end of the second quarter was 1 for 2, 13 yards, had 1 sack against him, and turned in a scintillating 5-yard sprint. Set to go now, Fred Steinfort, who hit a 57-yard field goal to extend Denver's lead, will kick off. Mike Nelms is deep for the Washington Redskins. From the goal line, Mike Nelms. And Nelms finds a little daylight and moves out to the 25-yard line, and a flag is down.
I think could be on Bostic. If it is, that was the second block that Bostic had on that return. I mean, he leveled. I believe his defensive tackle short.
We saw the preliminary call by our referee tonight, Fred Wyatt. Clipping being marked off against the Redskins. They'll start deep in their own territory again. Ball at the 13. Here's the call.
We have clipping, number 53, first down.
You're right, Don. The rookie from Clemson.
He got so excited. He got one of the better head-on blocks that I've seen. He got so excited with that block, he jumped up, hit somebody else, and then turned around.
Here we go. Start the second half. The Redskins are down 10-3. Heisman hands off to Wilbur Jackson. Jackson out over the 15 to the 17. Gain of about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7 as we look at the stats for the first half. Denver on top, as I said, 10-3. They have the bulk of the yardage, 131 yards. Denver took the opening kickoff, went 77 yards for a touchdown. 2nd down, 7. Ball at the 17-yard line of the Redskins. Heisman, both backs in the pattern. His wide receiver was not open, Art Monk, so he tries to dump it off to Jackson. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 7.
And I see, is that the tight end he's leaving back in the backfield with him, or the 3-man set back there? That's kind of unusual.
Well, they are in and out of that because Don Warren, as we mentioned earlier in the game, had that broken fibula. He really is not 100%, but he has been playing considerable time for the Redskins. Theismann now 7-11 for 42 yards. 3rd and 7. Up on top goes Theismann. Fires over the middle, is complete to Don Warren. He has the first down out of the 25-yard line. Don Warren, a second-year man out of San Diego State. That's one position where the Redskins have been hurt. They've been hurt so badly by injuries, and that would be a big part of why they are 1-4, trailing Philadelphia, which is 5-1, and Dallas 5-1. They've been hurt at this tight end. They lost Phil Du Bois. He's on the injured reserve. Don Warren was out.
Glenn Hyde is practicing. Well, he's having to fill in for Classic. Broken hand earlier, so he's just...
Theismann goes to Harmon, and Harmon breaks the tackle and gets additional yardage out to the 33-yard line. A gain of 8. It'll be 2nd down and 2. Clarence Harmon, he's suffering also. He missed last week with an ankle injury. I'll tell you, the Redskins are just put together with Adhesive tape and Band-Aids.
Haste. They're running the type of offense that you'd really expect Denver to run under Matt Robinson's leadership.
Second down and 2. Clarence Harmon following Wilbur Jackson. And Harmon out over the 35-yard line, getting the first down at the 36, taken there by Steve Foley. Well, you're right about that altitude up here, Don.
And you stay with it long enough.
He's been into organics too long.
Out of Mother Nature's own garden. You name it, and you can take it home.
It'd be hard to love if you were its mother. First and 10. Redskins 36. They are moving out of a stacked T now. Motioning there is John McDaniel. The handoff is Harmon, and Harmon finds it open on the left side and moves out over the 45, close to the 49-yard line. Gain of 8. It'll be second down and 2.
Nothing real flashy, but boy, they're moving that ball down the field.
Harmon and
very good first down yardage gain there. This is a critical series of possessions for the Redskins. They've got to get back in. With Denver to have scored first with Denver's defense and the Redskin injuries on offense, they'd be in deep trouble.
From the tight T, once again, Harmon just thrusting up the middle. He runs into Don Latimer, and they're in the short yardage defense. Bob Nairn closing down from his linebacker position.
Latimer at 6'2", 266. It says. I'll bet you he's closer to 276.
He has a little bit of an ornery streak in him, too. Short of the first down. President of what? There he is.
I don't want the job.
Trouble start here in Denver. Brought him in. He was named #1. Has really not hit the stride that he showed a couple of years ago when he replaced Richard Todd with the Jets. Meanwhile, on the field, Joey Theismann with the third down, less than a yard to go for the first. Wilbur Jackson. Jackson with a good, strong, stiff arm down the sidelines. He's not been out of bounds. He'll take it in. As you see so often, third and short. It was Wilbur Jackson who fought off Maurice Harvey at the line of scrimmage, sprinted in, 45 yards. The Redskins go out on top.
That's the biggest play the Redskins have had this year. It came at a telling moment for them. Now, low angle look. Don, you take it.
Well, the key is you can break one tackle, and the tackle he breaks is right here, and that's Harvey, who's filling in tonight. And Wilbur did a good job. This is a good move right here. He had only one guy. That's awfully tough in a downfield position. But once again, Thompson had a shot at him, too.
I'll tell you, he put a move on Bill Thompson, a 12-year veteran. Thompson knew he was the last man. He could not even get a hand on Wilbur Jackson. Jackson going 45 yards. Mosley with the conversion.
A brand new ball game, 10-10.
We've got a new one. It's tied at 10. Wilbur Jackson, first year as a Redskin, 45 yards.
That run by Jackson was the way he used to run when he played for the Big Bear at Alabama. In 78, as you look at it again, Wilbur had knee surgery. And he turned to coming out of the backfield to receive those passes I told you about earlier. Harvey made a mistake, Don.
Yeah, he really did.
He went high on Jackson instead of low.
Didn't use his arms at all.
Exactly.
Tried to hit his, knock him off balance, and Jackson is
that was
rather
the key
powerful
to the play.
Yeah.
You're right on, though, Howard. He never really came back from that knee surgery. He had 2 800-yard years out there with San Francisco, and then last year, coming back from that knee, only 375 yards. But he has got the Redskins back in this ball game as Craig Morton hands off to Jim Jensen. Jensen out over the 10 to the 12. Gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7.
Shows you how right Red Miller was to try to get the 3 points that he got when he put Morton in, and Steinfurt got the 57-yard field goal. Little things.
Little things. He actually went to Craig a little earlier than I thought he would tonight. He still had the lead, but he was trying to get some more points, more action.
10:22 remaining here in the third quarter. We're tied at 10. It's second down and 7. Craig Morton changing off, as he is more apt to do than the young quarterback, Matt Robinson. And off to Jim Jensen, another former Dallas Cowboy, as is Craig Morton. Jensen traded here and before the 77 season. He didn't play hardly at all that year, missed all of 78 with a knee operation. Had a 400-yard year a year ago, and of course it started this year with John Keyworth on the injured reserve list for Denver.
That last call of Craig's did not endear him to some of your Bronco Mania friends.
Well, yeah, Frank said he checked off, and he probably did, but he might have should have left the one he had on.
Yes.
Gain of 1, third down 6. Ball at the 13-yard line. Morton, he'll go down at the 2-yard line. Coy Bacon there first.
Flag down.
37-year-old Coy Bacon. Started out 68, rather 67, but he got a flag downfield now.
It was thrown kind of late, Frank. I can only guess is either maybe that illegal hit that we were talking about earlier. The defensive back really has to be careful when those receivers come down the field past the 5-yard marker.
And the indication by Jensen to the Denver bench is there's going to be a holding call going against the Redskins, and that'll give the Broncos a first down.
That is the break Denver needed. They simply must begin to get some offense. Meantime, Bacon is giving Studdard fits.
He, as we mentioned earlier, Studdard has not been in the best of graces with the head coach. He has been complaining about Dave most of the year, but he has played very well in the past, and I assume that they're hoping he'll maintain that level. All right, what do we got here, guys?
They'll be getting the call from referee Fred Wyant.
Illegal contact, number 23. First down.
Contact against Tony Peters, as we mentioned earlier. He's in there tonight in place of Ken Houston. And that gets the Broncos a first down. And it moves them out to their 18-yard line. Quick count. Morton hands off to Jensen. Jensen turns the corner out over the 20-yard line to the 23-yard line. Gain of 5. It'll be second and 5. Neil Okowitz, another one of those injured Redskins, coming back. Played well against Philadelphia a week ago, but he had been out for the 4 previous games. Luke Prestridge.
Luke Prestridge practicing punting, which in and of itself connotes a defensive attitude.
Well, always be ready, though. You never can tell.
How about our cameraman down there lying on his tummy?
Let's not talk about it, Frank.
Second and 5. Armstrong, big opening. He has the first down out to the 32. Mark Murphy saved a lot of yardage by the stop.
I wondered when he was going to call Armstrong. He picked the right time.
Well, he did, and I don't see really anything different from the offense that Craig is running than the offense that Matt was running, except they seem to be responding maybe a little bit better. Talk about the plays. They're calling basically the same kind of plays.
I think that's fair. Armstrong, as I said, with a good chance for a 100-yard night.
Good block by Glenn Hyde, who's replaced Tom Glassick at guard. Hyde blocking against Washington's Coy Bacon. Denver now with the ball at the 33-yard line. Inside handoff to Armstrong. This play's been working all night. Armstrong out over the 35, close to the 38. Another gain of 5. It'll be second and 5.
You could make a pretty good guess that too was another audible, a change of plays at the line of scrimmage. You saw Armstrong had a little hesitation in that lineup. They almost ran that one down, too. They had 1 second left on the 30-second clock before that one got off.
Another 5 yards there in Steinport's range.
That's about true. Steinport, in case you weren't with us, hit one from 57 yards out before the half. Morton, Jensen short of the first down. Just over the 41-yard line. It'll be third and short yardage. I want to remind you, Saturday, Wide World of Sports coming here on ABC, a special early time, so keep that in mind. 2:30 Eastern, 1 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Pacific time over most of these ABC stations. We see aerobatic daredevils, the World Invitational High Diving Championship, plus World Cycle Championship. That from France, and followed by NCAA College Football featuring Bear Bryant's #1 Alabama Crimson Tide against the University of Tennessee Volunteers. That'll be coming up at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, 1:30 Mountain and Pacific. Wide World of Sports, college football coming Saturday. On third and short, and Armstrong hurdles out to the 45-yard line. He has a Denver first down.
He's having an all-time Armstrong game, no question about it.
Saw a good move in there by Paul Howard, Claudia Minor, and And Bill Bryan, the center, made a good cutoff block. Had a good lead block also by Jensen.
Studdard has come out of there, left tackle, offensively for the Broncos. The #1 draft pick of a couple of years ago, Kelvin Clark from Nebraska, is in there left tackle. He wears number 73 for the Broncos. Play action by Morton on 1st and 10. Upchurch is open. Upchurch has the football at the 20-yard line. Rick Upchurch working against Joe Lavender, and he had turned Lavender around. He was wide open.
Little things, Don. You look back, the mistake by Tony Peters. Denver was dead on this whole series. We look at it again.
Go ahead. Just a pretty good throw. Greg threw it a little bit behind it, but Frank hit it. He had Lavender turned around. You see, Upchurch had to wait a little bit. One of the things I think that helped make this play go, of course, they've been able to run the ball a little bit.
But Peters doesn't make the mistake. Washington gets the ball back.
Morton going to Upchurch, as he did last week, in moving the football into field goal position against the Cleveland Browns. The 1st and 10. Handoff is to Armstrong. Another opening, and Armstrong is inside the 15-yard line. It'll be 2nd down. And about 4. The ball will be marked right at the 15. 5:06 remaining in the 3rd quarter. It's all tied at 10, and Denver is moving.
And Otis Armstrong, carrying 15 times, now has 84 yards.
Greg Morton. Plays coming in from the sideline. He has the authority to change plays if he so wishes. 2 wide receivers. Upchurch. Moses to the right, but the call is Armstrong again, and Armstrong bangs to the 10. Close to a 1st down. Lavender at the bottom of that pile for Washington.
Offensive unit gains so much confidence when they can go on a drive like this, starting really from, I guess, their 20-yard line. They've moved it down very consistently, have not really been in trouble in any 3rd and long situations. It's hey, we can do a lot of things down here. They're now really getting down where, I guess they came up a little short that time. Are they going to measure? I believe they will.
As they bring out the yard lines, we'll remind you, this drive started at the 8-yard line. They've used 10 plays. They had a great deal of help from an illegal chuck on a 3rd down that gave them a 1st down out of their own 20. Short by inches. Greg Morton glances over to the sidelines as we look at Jack Pardee and now Red Miller of the Broncos.
Now, they don't want a mistake. They don't want a fumble. They don't want an intercept. Almost unfailingly, Frank, on these long drives, there is a tendency to make the critical mistake that will turn the ball over.
Greg is a veteran. He'll step into that huddle. He'll say, let's don't hold, guys. Stay onside. We've got it motoring. Let's keep it together.
The old play action.
3rd and inches. Morton
took it to the power.
With the speed and agility of a man half his age, hurdles over for the 1st down. Greg really turned this city on when he came in '77 with Red Miller. They picked him up from the Giants. Promptly took Denver to the Super Bowl.
You said in the 1st half he came up in 35. Rather in 65. Looking at him, I thought it was 35.
Oh, come on.
But coming up that same year, Joe Willie Namath, a fellow named Munson, Jerry Rome. Where are they now?
Well, let's see. Greg is right here in Denver. Old Curly.
Rome is coaching in Seattle.
The 1st and 10 is outside the 10, so Denver could conceivably get a 1st down. Armstrong banged at the line of scrimmage.
I agree with Talkington, Don. This situation, you're in that close, 1st down, pass.
Big Dave Butts, okay, bristling up there for the Washington Redskins.
It's awfully tough because that one, of course, you're getting that real goal line defense. Most teams have it broken down where they have an offense specifically designed for this particular play, and a pass is certainly one of the options that they have.
6 minutes have expired in this drive. This is the 13th play. 2nd down and 9. Morton will put it in the air.
Look at him over there.
Wide open, out of the End zone and incomplete. Riley Odoms, we told you he was playing hurt tonight. Tony Peters back there defensively got himself lined up. And it will be 3rd down and 9.
I think had the ball been released just a little quicker, I can't really tell where Peters touched it or not. Good throw. It's right on the money. But gave that defense, actually, that hit his hands too, didn't it?
I think Peters got a finger on it.
Yeah.
Odoms would have tucked that one away.
That was right on the money.
Tony Peters again in there tonight for Ken Houston. Houston, of course, a 14-year veteran.
Even Moses is out there kind of by himself right now.
Getting single coverage from Lamar Parrish. But Martin goes out to Jensen. Jensen has the ball at the 5-yard line. It'll be 4th down and 5. Call it 4th and 4, that is. Monty Coleman was all over Jensen, and he really rained on him on the sidelines.
And that's going to cut their running back core to actually only 2 healthy ones.
That's right. If he's out there in still deeper trouble. Now they're in bad enough trouble. They got to go for the field goal.
You mentioned Rob Lytle, who we've seen play. They also have Lawrence McCutcheon, who they got from the
And that's
Rams.
it. That's all they have.
That's it.
He's a flat disappointment.
Well, he's not doing what they would like for him to do. You're right. McCutcheon has had that kind of career where he really has had some great games, great years in L.A. and had a pretty bad injury. They did make it back from there.
Jensen comes back to the huddle. Apparently he's all right, but they'll give him a little break as Steinfort comes out with the field goal unit. Steinfort, 11 of 13 attempts this year. He had one blocked against Cleveland, as we mentioned earlier. He missed a 73-yard attempt up in New England. This will be a 23-yard attempt. And Steinfort, full of confidence, having a great year, puts it through, unties this football game. Denver over Washington, 13-10. 2:22 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and we'll be back. Mile High Stadium. Frank Gifford with Howard Cosell. Don Meredith got him out of the parking lot early enough for tonight's game.
I sure do appreciate that, too. Supermarket parking lots is what I are.
You're going to be a Kansas City disc jockey yet.
Kansas City Star.
Mike Nelms waiting the kickoff of Fred Steinfort. Former Boston College kicker nails it down to the goal line, and here comes Nelms. Nelms with some nifty running and battling gets out over the 25. 27-yard return. Another one of those Canadians that Bobby Bettler picked up. He was a good defensive back up there as well.
That special unit, though, the Redskins, we've talked about them so many times, but they really are active. Everybody's hitting somebody. Nobody's standing around, and that's really what it takes.
Red Miller made that point at lunch.
He sure did.
He said, I don't care who's coaching Washington. They've got great special teams.
He said that's what they felt he should do. If we could just stay even with them on the special teams, we were in good shape.
Our first down is at the 26-yard line. Jackson 40, Harmon 38 with setbacks, and here comes Jackson. Got a helping block from Clarence Harmon. Moves for 5 out to the 30. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Reuben Carter sliding in under there.
He made a good move, Frank. Reuben Carter made a good move coming from that middle to fall back out to the outside and hold that one down to a fairly short gain.
Rick Upchurch, the game breaker, caught the long pass. Hi, Rick, from Craig Morton. But still, Miller has to be disappointed. They kept the ball 14 plays, 8 minutes, 37 seconds, had to settle for a field goal. Here's Gibb.
Washington stays with their stack tee. Jackson out over the 35 to the 36-yard line. He'll be close to a first down as Rob Nairn made the stop defensively for Denver.
Jackson looks to be coming back to something like his former self. He is a driving back now. That 45-yard sprint for the touchdown will undoubtedly give him great confidence, or renewed confidence.
It had to be a big help. Meanwhile, the yardage is not sufficient to require a measurement. It's still less than a yard for the Redskins. Ball just over the 35-yard line. Harmon hurdles forward. He has the first down easily. One would have to suspect that a very courageous Randy Gradishar might have met that had he been a 100% football player, but we told you that he is playing very painful torn rib cartilage tonight, wearing the flak jacket, and he's one of the best in the business. This game has featured long possessions by both these teams.
I think it reflects the maturity that Theismann has acquired as a quarterback. He is not giving the ball away. He's making very sure about that. At the same time, he may be cutting back on some of his many skills.
1st and 10, Theismann play action. Fires a beautiful pass that Art Monk could not hold on at the 45-yard line of Denver. Clock stopped on the incompletion with 5 seconds. And you were talking about, Joe, as we look at Art Monk, he got out from underneath the shadow of Billy Kilmer a year ago, Don, and that really gave him a lot of confidence. He was the second leading passer a year ago.
Ball was a little bit
behind him.
A little bit behind him, but there were 4 big orange jerseys all around him out there, and I think probably Joe threw that one maybe to the only place that was open to him.
This will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. With Denver on top 13-10 over Washington. Here comes Jackson. He finds an opening, and Jackson out to the 47-yard line. He gets 5. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Tom Jackson in there on the stop. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. The score is Washington 10, Denver 13. We'll return for more action in the 4th quarter in a moment. As part of a paid attendance crowd of over 74,000 who helped the National Football League to a new attendance record, in-stadium attendance record this weekend of 898,000, surpassing the previous record high set a year ago, November the 12th, 1979. And a big 3rd down play for the Washington Redskins. There's 3rd down and 5, the ball at their own 43.
There's a story in that attendance record somewhere.
Theismann gets out of trouble. He can run for it, and he does, stepping out of bounds. But he gets beyond the marker, stopping the clock as he trips out at about the 47-yard line.
You said a mouthful when you said it was a big 3rd down play. The 3rd quarter statistics.
Boy, I'll tell you something. He miscalculated that.
He did.
What happened? The yard marker man pulled the yard marker out to avoid any kind of an injury. Theismann could have gone ahead easily for the 1st. He misread it, and he comes up short.
You are right. And you're still right. It was a big 3rd down play, and it turned out to be a big play for Denver.
And that's a mouthful.
You know that Joe Theismann, an experienced quarterback that he is, has got to be really upset as he talks to offensive coordinator Joe Walton. But when they pulled that yard marker out, Theismann misjudged it and came up short by a yard. Mike Connell comes on to punt. Rick Upchurch drops for Denver to his 12-yard line. Connell, high, short, Upchurch, fair catch at the 23.
Did you see how immediately Upchurch called that fair catch?
Exactly. That man, number 80, knows where he is at all times. 31-yard punt. We'll be back in a moment. Back at Mile High Stadium, 14:44 remaining in this football game. The Denver Broncos 2-3 in this young NFL season, trailing the San Diego Chargers, who are 4-2. And the Broncos have a 1st and 10 following a short punt by Mike Connell. The ball at the Broncos 23. Lawrence McCutcheon, number 33, in relief. Jim Jensen is in the backfield now for the Broncos. McCutcheon, with those great years with the Rams, came in a trade this year. This is Otis Armstrong. Armstrong ahead close to the 25-yard line for a gain of a couple. It'll be 2nd and 8.
The 3rd quarter stats, the team's almost even in time of possession and even in yardage. Accurately, the score is reflected in those statistics. A tough, tight 13-10 ball game, Denver leading.
More Mile High happiness.
Yeah, there he goes. It just seems to rub off on you.
2nd down, long 8. This is McCutcheon. McCutcheon tries to pull free of Carl Lorch's grasp. Does not do so, but moves up for about a 3-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
Obviously, you're looking at launch there. Obviously, what Denver desperately wants to do is mount a time-consuming drive. So this is critical for them. What did it say? My mom thinks you are white.
You are sexy. Yes, then my mom thinks you're sexy. Oh.
So does Susan.
Yeah.
On 3rd and 5, Morton. And Morton will go down. Hustling in there was Perry Brooks. Perhaps the best of the pass rushing Redskins. He comes in on passing situations. He'll move back out, trading during the course of the game with Dyron Talbot.
May not be true at all, but I had a feeling that this drive was going to be important to Denver. They had a long drive, didn't make it. You just saw overpowered. Craig didn't move at all, but it didn't have anybody open down there to throw it to either.
Denver clinging to a 3-point lead here in the 4th quarter. Luke Prestridge on to punt for the Broncos, and Mike Nelms stations himself at his own 40-yard line. And here comes the special unit of the Redskins. They lead the league in these departments. And a flag goes down as Nelms is taken out of bounds at the 47-yard line. 51-yard punt.
A great boot, but a good return and great field position for Washington, depending upon the penalty call.
And it looks to be a clip. I would, if we could, maybe we can see that again, because you talk about the special teams, and they either have, they either go try to block it or they try to come back and set one up. That one was a setup trying to return that one all the way. And you saw that whole left defensive side of the Redskin line just peel back, and they've got good speed to come back down here. Had the ball not been kicked so close to the sideline, let's just see the left side of this line, the defensive line. Are they taking an initial hit, trying to slow down the offense, and here they start peeling off to the outside. The ball really was kicked in a position that the Redskins would not like it. He has no place to go except for that sideline.
Rich Malott was detected with the clip for the Redskins. They are moved back to their 32-yard line. That's where they'll begin when we return in a moment. In Bronco land is a Bronco lead, and that's the story at the moment. But the Redskins have field position, 32-yard line, and they have been moving the football. Earl Theismann, a 52% plus passer this far this year. Of course, the quarterback, and he hands off to Wilbur Jackson, who's taken by big Don Latimer, the nose guard in there now defensively for the Denver Broncos. Broncos moving in and out of a 3-man front and a 4-man front.
Latimer did an excellent job of playing off his block. He's so big, we've spoken of him earlier, but he just moved around, was able, tall enough, big enough to reach over and kind of hold him down.
2nd down and 8. Broncos into a 4-man front. Theismann is blasted there by Greg Boyd, his 2nd sack of the night.
And when Theismann misjudged the yard marker on that earlier play that you described, Frank, he went over complaining to Walton about Greg Boyd bothering him on that play. Boyd is busting through.
Hermeling, you see, gets his feet tied up, number 75, loses his balance. That opens the door for Boyd, and man, does he come through.
In defense of Terry Hermeling, he also is playing hurt tonight. Very sore knee. That's the story for these Redskins. And they are a patched-up football team.
It looked like that, Frank. It looked like he just had his balance just knocked off from under. Didn't have 2 good legs to stand on.
7-yard loss. 3rd down, 17 for Theismann, and they want timeout. Joe Theismann moves over to the Washington bench as the Denver Bronco capacity crowd is cheering their defensive unit. They have 3 sacks. They only had 4 coming into tonight. Joe Theismann comes back out onto the field. 11:40 remaining in the football game. 3rd down, 17 for Theismann, and Denver, who was unable to generate any kind of a pass rush in the previous 5 games. They have 3 sacks on a very elusive Joe Theismann tonight.
I was surprised with his yardage. 59 yards passing.
Theismann, that's going to be more. So quickly to Clarence Harmon. Denver was giving up the yardage. They gave up too much as Harmon gets the 1st down. And Denver was going to give them the short pass. Clarence Harmon turned the short pass into a First down for Washington over the 45.
That is, without question, the biggest play up to this point in the game for Washington, even including Jackson's 45-yard sprint for the touchdown. They were in an impossible situation, Don.
Well, they were in a situation where you certainly expected them not to make a first down. It is this kind of defensive mistake that Frank was talking about. They just gave him too much ground, and get a guy like Harmon, and he's going to make he picked up some extra yards for you.
Until this year, Denver never did that.
Frank Harmon gets the call inside Denver territory for a gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. I'm going to take this moment as we watch the Washington Redskins offensive unit move down the field. Well, they're a pretty classy bunch of guys. They have a troubled teammate at the moment, Harold Tank McClinton, 10 years, middle linebacker for this football team, seriously injured in an accident a little over a week ago, fighting for his life. This team has set up a Harold McClinton Trust Fund. They've all contributed a sizable sum of money. That, of course, meaningless because this was one of the fine men you'll know, and he's battling for his life right now. But these Skins have set up the Harold McClinton Trust Fund for their former teammate. On 2nd down and 6, Wilbur Jackson over the right side, and he has another Washington first down, and you begin to smell something with the Redskins offense. They're moving.
I don't want to distract from this game either, but what you said is bigger than any game about Tank McClinton. He was struck down by a driver. He was in the act of helping a woman at the time on the road and struck down. The driver turned himself in the next day. Other teams in Washington, other sports teams, are joining in, and Tank had to undergo amputation of one leg below the knee. It's just a tragic thing, and when it happened, the response of the entire sports community of Washington, D.C. has to be one of the most heartwarming things that we have ever encountered. And we all pray for Harold Tank McClinton.
Wilbur Jackson, you saw, shaken up on that play. Nevertheless, he gets down to the 41-yard line. First down, Redskins. 9:50 and the clock has started as Jackson is assisted from the field. Jackson leaves the game with 90 yards, 45 of them coming on a touchdown sprint on a 3rd and short that put life into the Redskins. Bobby Hammond in motion. Theismann rolling out. Going to Hammond. Bill Thompson misses, and Hammond gets inside the 30-yard line. He'll have another Washington first down, stopping the clock with 9:29.
In the recent years, you would never see the Denver defense give up this kind of yardage. A loose tackle by Bill Thompson, a great veteran. As Frank noted, this is just not defensive football the way the Broncos have played it.
It's really 2 for Thompson. Thompson was the guy, the last man that on the Wilbur Jackson
sprint.
Yeah.
That's right.
They mark it at the 34-yard line. 1st and 10. Theismann doing a surgical job on the Denver Bronco defense. Remember, a short while ago, he had a 3rd and 17. This is Clarence Harmon in a wide open field. And Harmon driven out of bounds by Steve Foley.
That was a fun play. That was a delay back to the weak side with really out a great deal of blocking. It's the old takeoff or influence play. You see him roll a little bit to his right, set. He's got nobody over there blocking. That entire line goes off trying to influence the defense, which it did. They're great readers. They try to read which way that play is going. Almost picked up a first down. Was that a good solid 8 yards?
They'll give him that. They call it 2nd down and a long 2. They mark it at the 21-yard line. Bronco fans shouting defense, defense. Fake reverse, and Theismann stays with it and gives it off to Harmon. Harmon drops it.
Oh, no.
And there's a scramble. I believe Denver has the football down around the 7-yard line.
Bless his heart.
What you so often face on a drive like this, as I said earlier.
That was Bill Thompson coming up with the football.
You can't have that mistake.
It's just so unfortunate, too, because Harmon's been really a key in this whole drive. A good fake right there in the inside. A little fake pitch out. The reverse, he comes back, throws it to Harmon. He's got the ball in good shape, slips down, trying to come up, and just can't hold on to it. You really hate to see that happen to any athlete. Big turnover.
And Bill Thompson redeemed himself somewhat, coming up with the football. Denver will have possession at their own 7 when we come back. That's what it looks like from the end zone.
Hi, guys.
But looks good from up here to me.
What city are we? What
like
time zone?
Let's see. We're in Denver.
I don't know how you would ever know, Coach, where you have been.
Oh,
Less than 2 weeks ago, London, Las Vegas, all over the lot with the National League coverage. Meanwhile, Denver has the football at their own 7-yard line. Morton hands off to Big Jim Jensen, trying to get breathing room out from the shadow of their goal line, moving out to the 8-yard line. Gain of 1. Coy Bacon defensively and Dave Butts. And we have a flag down. Indicated against the Broncos. Want to remind you, tonight after local news on Nightline, ABC News examines Pee Wee football and explores the physical and psychological risks that can arise in football programs for the youngsters. Ben Swan of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Dr. Nicholson, the famed team doctor.
Number 30.
Ben Swan of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Dr. Nicholson of the New York Jets will talk to Ted Koppel about the potential benefits and dangers of youth football. That's later tonight on Nightline. 2nd down and 9. Penalty declined. Lawrence McCutcheon. And McCutcheon coughs it up, and there's nothing but Redskins around the football.
gotta be a Redskin turnover right there. Oh, man.
And turnabout is fair play.
That was almost high schoolish. It really was. To see that play. So slow in unfolding. And what a bad call.
Neil
Whoever called it.
Okowitz, the recovery for the Redskins.
You got to feel badly for McCutcheon, who is not having one of his better years. He's out to the outside. He's just come in because of an injury.
It was Mark Murphy who knocked it away.
And Mark hit him pretty good, didn't he?
Yeah, but he carried that ball like you saw. It was ridiculous. And what a time to have McCutcheon in the game.
Everybody else is hurt.
Redskins are down by 3, and they're threatening to change that. Harmon and Joe Theismann goes right back to Clarence Harmon, the man who had popped it up to the Broncos at the 7-yard line just moments ago. Greg Boyd defensively on the stop.
Under any circumstances, they should come out of this with a field goal. That's the man who recovered it.
And he's just recently become healthy.
Olkowicz, number 52, free agent, Maryland, right close by the D.C. area, discovered by Bobby Bett.
Here's a good chance for us to look at what you're talking about, the Denver's goal line or short yardage defense. They got to have it right now. Let's see if they've got enough of the walking wounded to pull it together.
2nd and goal, and this is Jackson, and Jackson gives Rob Nairn a ride down to the 1. Over Jackson, running with authority tonight. Last year, San Francisco, coming off that knee surgery, had only 375 yards. And he looks as though he's gained a great deal of confidence.
He really does, Frank. He's driving the way he used to.
You know, I think maybe we were talking about it at a commercial, but I think it takes about a year. I think, Frank, you mentioned this. You've had a knee injury. It takes a little while to get used to that. Coming back and say, hey, okay, this thing's still okay. I can play.
Wilbur's got 104 yards on the night. The graphic we just showed.
On 3rd and goal, and Theismann hangs it up in the corner. Art Muck is there, touchdown, and the rookie from Syracuse makes a spectacular catch, working against Steve Foley.
And what a great call by whoever called it. Joe Walton, I don't care. Theismann can execute. The difference here tonight is in the quarterbacks, as it so often is, at least up till now.
I would certainly say this is an unusual call. I like to see it, but what a catch. Look at the ball. This ball's up there. Now, this is your rookie that you were talking about. Really goes high for it. Got a lot of concentration. You see Foley's right there, but that's a good touchdown. You know, you'd think that in that situation, at least they might even try to run twice. They had less than a yard to go.
And that brings up Mark Mosley for the conversion attempt. He drills it through, and the Redskins are on top. For the first time tonight, the Redskins have the lead. The 1-4 Redskins, who are trying to catch up with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys in their division, have the lead with 7:30 remaining. 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining here at Mile High Stadium. The Washington Redskins have assumed the lead. Fumble by Lawrence McCutcheon at the 5-yard line. Joey Theismann hitting Art Monk, the rookie number 1 draft pick from Syracuse for the score that put the Redskins on top. Larry Brunson awaiting the kickoff of Mark Mosley. With much respect, Mosley, who has not been accurate in the field goal department thus far this year, nevertheless can kick it awfully high and long. Mosley clubs Brunson into the end zone, and he'll bring it out. And Brunson flies out over the 20-yard line to the 21, and let's take a look at Joe Theismann's reaction when Art Monk came down with the football.
That's Mr. and Ms. Thiesman's baby boy, Joe Theismann, and he loved it.
I like that kid.
He is a real competitor. He's out there.
I worked with him in the Superstars a year ago.
Quality
He
kid,
is a good, fine athlete and a fine person.
He is a competitor, boy, I'll tell you. In those superstar events, Joe tried to win them all, man. He really did.
And he came close.
He did.
Now a field goal won't do it for Denver. They've got to get a touchdown. They haven't shown offensive capacity.
Martin bombing for Upchurch. It'll be overthrown.
That had to be a miscommunication. Upchurch made his move to the inside. Craig threw it as a long post. Upchurch thought he was coming in about 30 yards. He did. I saw that. I mean, he did. He saw it. There's a flag down there.
There is a flag down, and there's a discussion at the line of scrimmage.
Oftentimes you can say,
Against Washington.
well, that's lucky.
That is lucky.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're down. You've got to have yourself a good drive. The first thing they do is try to, throw a bomb to Upchurch. That's asking almost too much too soon. They have not had anything really sustained except for the one drive that stalled.
Contact, number 59, defense, first down.
There you go.
Brad Dusick called for the Redskins. It'll be 1st and 10. The ball now out of the 26.
And you don't have to panic and try and make the touchdown on one play. You got 7 minutes plus.
Play action by Morton, trying to hold the backers. Morton goes to Riley Odoms. He has the first down at the 39-yard line. And the big man, playing as so many football players do, in pain, with that sore shoulder, gets the first for Denver.
That was also a good throw by Craig that time. He stepped up under some pressure. Riley Odoms is his guy, but watch this time. He gets, I think, this Larch that comes in from the outside. Rob Lytle, 41. Here's Larch. Gets a little shove to the outside. Craig feels the pressure. He knows it's there. As you basically say, a semi-sidearm to Riley Odoms for a first down.
They mark it at the 39-yard line. Seconds ticking now. Now we're inside 7 minutes remaining in the game. Denver down 13 to 17, and handoff is Otis Armstrong, and Armstrong finds more yardage over the right side. A pickup of 9. It'll be 2nd and 1.
I realize it's easy to sit up here and second guess.
Oh, it's not either.
But one wonders about the method of using Armstrong. Suddenly, for a whole quarter, you don't hear him. You don't see him getting the call.
I wonder if they're trying to protect the few healthy backs that they have. Surely they wouldn't be thinking about that, would they?
Quite well taken. They have really slim ranks in the running back department. 2nd and 1. Armstrong gets the first down at the 47-yard line. Denver on the move. Neil Olkowitz made the stop.
Well, he now has a 100-yard gain. He's at 102 yards. Jackson's at 104 for Washington.
17 to 13. Denver needs the touchdown. They do not need the field goal.
That's their problem in a nutshell.
They have had problems putting touchdowns on the scoreboard this year. Their scoring has been mainly the efforts of Fred Steinfort. 1st and 10. Armstrong just bowling ahead for 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. Coy Bacon in on the stop defensively.
By the way, this is Otis's first 100-yard game since 1977, Frank.
Well, they had him alternating for so many years, and if I were a running back, I'll tell you, I just wouldn't like that alternating.
As
You just don't get the feel of a game. It'd be like alternating quarterbacks every other play, and Otis comes out to an ovation. 2nd down 6.
Upchurch up top.
Norton, and he finds a receiver. It's Rob Lytle. Lytle has the first down at the 33, and it was fortunate the referee did not blow the sack because Morton was in the grasp of the Redskins.
That's true, and it was a great play by Craig Morton.
Yeah, good concentration because he's not, you know, Craig knows better than anybody. He's not going to move around there too much, so he needs some help. That's Bacon that has him right there. He didn't really have him.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. That was a good show.
show.
He was there, and that's Rob Lytle coming in. Is it Rob's knee that's hurt, Frank? I forget.
He has a very sore knee. Had surgery on it 2 years ago. It's sore once again. Here comes Armstrong to the 31-yard line. Gain of 1. It'll be second down and 9. At 3:48, the clock moving.
That's almost a case of going to the well too often. They've been running that play off this right side several times. That time, if you run it enough, they're going to finally defense it.
You keep putting Tug McGraw in every day, and he finally can't get a guy out either.
Yeah, they finally win.
Nobody's perfect.
What a sensational series. I love that. I had so much fun watching baseball. I ate more popcorn this last week, I think, than I have in my life. I sit there at the house watching that, eating popcorn, drinking iced tea. What can I tell you?
Second down, 9. Morton has Upchurch wide open.
He sure does.
Touchdown.
He's got him.
Morton almost couldn't find him. Upchurch was open for 20 yards.
He was.
Morton was in trouble. He finally picked him up and drilled it.
Frank, that was the strangest thing. Murphy was following him by 10 yards. Upchurch is there. You can say, throw it, throw it, throw it. I couldn't believe it.
He did throw it. And what a great thing to see a veteran come back against the excellence of the young quarterback, Theismann, who had been dominating, and drive his team downfield. And it took him 4 minutes to do it.
And maybe they should have used more time because there's 3:08 remaining, and Theismann has the Washington offense in gear. Morton, 6 of 8, 108 yards. Upchurch, 5 receptions, 93 yards. Here's Steinfort for the conversion. 75,000 Bronco fans cheer the efforts of Craig Morton and Rick Upchurch.
Now, this is an old-time Monday night football game.
Oh,
It's good to have it back.
Little quick fake. That was Lytle going to the outside. You see Craig move a little bit there. He's getting some pressure on the inside.
Oh, he can zip that ball, can he?
He can. You know, Craig really does have a good arm, and he throws the ball real well. But the main thing is that he waited long enough, picked the guy open, got him a touchdown.
Curley is once again the fireman. We'll be back.
In business, starting small.
Mile High Stadium is rocking as the fans collectively on their feet, stomping, cheering their favorites on. The Broncos back on top, 20-17. Mike Nelms is deep, awaiting the kick to Fred Steinfort. It's a 3:08 remaining.
And it's a 3.5 on the Richter scale.
It feels that way. These fans are really into it. Whoops. That was Wilbur Jackson having trouble with it. And now it's going to be marked at the 1-yard line.
Oh, bless his heart.
Jackson touched that football. That goes out at the 1.
That was the tragedy for the Redskins. Jackson touching the football.
One of those really unfortunate mistakes. It was not I don't think that was the kind of kick that Steinfort was trying to do. Maybe so.
Wait a minute.
Now,
Dandy, wait a minute.
all right, what?
Wild debate down in the field, of course.
It appeared to me that he touched it. Now, does he have to have possession before it goes? What do you? No, he just can touch it.
If that's all they're claiming. Now he didn't touch it.
Oh, he touched it.
He did not. And if he did not, then there will be a penalty of 5 yards, and they'll kick from the 30.
You got to be kidding.
I think maybe we should immediately get a ruling from Chubb Feeney, the president of the National League.
Absolutely. Well, it's certainly going to be played under protest. They're saying he did not touch it. Is that what they're saying?
That's it.
Yeah.
Referee Fred Wyatt will take the ball.
You know, for Wilbur
Back
Jackson,
to the 30-yard line, 5-yard penalty.
for Wilbur Jackson's sake, I hope he didn't touch it.
Hard to say.
I'll say this, if he touched it, he sure didn't mean to.
Do we have another angle?
Wait a minute.
The legal procedure indicated against Denver, that refers, of course, to the ball going out of bounds.
That might be your big play of the night right there.
That very well.
Yeah, not the pass to Harmon for the first down. I think that was it. They would have had 99 yards to go in 3 minutes and 2 seconds. We'll Wilbur just told Harmon, he says, I hope they don't kick it to me this time.
All right, Steinfurt will boot it again. This will be Nelms at the goal line. Mike Nelms. Nelms finds a little gap. He gets out to the 30, so Joe Theismann will have field position from the 30, 2:52 remaining on the clock. Washington has 2 timeouts.
He just picked up 29 yards on that kick.
And that Nelms is a nifty little runner. He finds space where you don't think there is any.
And Wilbur Jackson says, I'm not supposed to be returning kicks anyway.
And Chuck Feeney has upheld Bill Verdon's protest. Will resume in the Astrodome tomorrow. The World Series will not begin.
You're really weird, Howard.
Wait a minute. Orson Welles did that once. First and 10. Theismann. A flag. It's the big man, Art Monk. A flag is down. Monk has the first down out of the 48-yard line. Bill Thompson was all over Monk. Art Monk is beginning to show the reasons he was picked up as a #1 draft pick. Great record, All-American at Syracuse. Breaking all kinds of receiving records there. Here's the call.
Holding, number 58, declined, first down.
See, holding by Rob Nairn declined because the Redskins moved the football on the reception out near midfield.
You're right about Monk. They're going to wind up using him the way Lenny Dawson used to use Otis Tell.
I remember that.
You throw him the quick sideline hitch, let him break tackles, bang, bang, downfield.
Those are the great black and white films we see today, aren't they?
48-yard line, and Joe Theismann,
That's bad.
has to use a timeout. He'll move over to the sidelines, and that means Joe Theismann just has 1 timeout remaining. 2:43 remaining in the game. Washington down by 3. We'll be back. The man who could be on the spot to tie this game, send it into overtime, Mark Mosley, came into tonight, all kinds of problems. He was 2 of 10 thus far before he came into tonight. He hit from 23 yards out earlier.
An unusually poor year for him.
He led the league in percentage and scoring and everything a year ago. And
he's really a good kicker, so
he's been great in practice. He just has not been able to hit during the games. Redskins, first and 10. Ball at their own 48-yard line. Wilbur Jackson in motion. Clarence Harmon goes forward, piled up right at midfield. The Redskins will now have to go with a hurry offense. They'd like to get a play in before the 2-minute warning. Matter of fact, they must. Here comes big Greg Boyd, who's been a pass-rushing marvel for the Broncos tonight.
He has been a very influential factor in this ball game.
Big number 77 as the Broncos will drop into their 4-man front.
And Ricky Thompson just came in from the sideline. You see him, number 83 at the top of your screen. He's one of their clutch receivers, too.
Second and 8. Theismann on the bootleg. He wants Monk. Monk is open. Steps out of bounds. Kills the clock, but the 2-minute warning is already on the scoreboard.
Hey, you know, that was good coverage by Foley. Although the pass was completed, he had Monk, who's a real speedster. Theismann's out on the outside, and Foley had him there. All right, you see, this is a pretty good fake right here.
Good fake.
Hit the ball pretty well. Coming back out on the outside. Giselle was the guy that was there, but watch. Now, Foley had to adjust. He's got to go deep first. Came back, Monk got the ball.
And he also read that rollout. The Theismann-Monk connection gets another Redskin first down inside Denver's 40. Joe Theismann in the Washington Redskin huddle situation. 2 minutes remaining in the game. The Redskins are down by 3 to the Denver Broncos. The ball inside the Broncos 40-yard line, first down and 10.
7-11. Maybe needs some new shoes.
This Denver crowd, the crescendo growing as they're exhorting their defensive Bronco football players to come up with the big play. Theismann, a delay back is Clarence Harmon. He has the ball, and the flag is down as Harmon rolls for 9 yards, and it's going to be a holding call against Washington.
You saw Big Barney Chavis. He was pointing fingers at someone.
Well, a delay forced the hold.
Jack Pardee does not like that. He said things weren't that way in Cristobal when we played six-man football, and Harmon is down. That doesn't look good either. He's had a good night for him. Very
Shaken up twice tonight.
Just one fumble hurt him, but he's had a good night.
They've talked about the problems.
Holding, number 74, offense.
That's George Stark, and like Terry Hermeling on the left side, Stark is playing with a very sore knee. He's back from having missed 3 games with a knee injury. Columbia boy who made good in the big leagues.
I think that's a good indication. Frank, we talked about Hermeling earlier, who's had an injury. So is Stark. It's kind of a tendency for those guys. They're not really in their top playing condition, so they're going to have a tendency to hold more than maybe some of the guys that have been there and stayed healthy all year.
That penalty will put the ball back at midfield, and Theismann will have a 1st and 20. Started to say the Redskins have had their own problems. Not only did John Riggins retire this year, he's probably watching out in Kansas. They have lost Buddy Hardiman for a period of time. Ricky Klatt, the rookie from Bethune-Cookman, is a very sore ankle. Red Miller is exercised on the sidelines. He really reminds me of Don Coryell a little bit, and how he gets into a football game. I like that.
I do too. He's a very emotional, volatile fellow.
1:52. Redskins one timeout. 1st and 20. The short flip. It goes out to Don Warren.
Good play.
Warren.
And another flag.
Goes down, and another flag goes down. And Jackson of the Broncos is claiming that he was the man who was fouled.
I'm afraid not.
That play was set up very well. I don't know whether it was a missed defensive assignment.
Flipping.
That's it. That's a proper call. Unfortunately for the Redskins, but it's a proper call.
A good delay to that tight end. When you got a guy like Warren, who's got good speed, he has stayed in the block, waited to the last minute. That's a delayed screen. It's just as good, sometimes better than.
We have a clip. Number 34.
Bobby Hammond clipping against Tom Jackson. Now the ball is back at the 45-yard line. The down remains the same, but it will be 1st down, 25.
The sad part of that for the Redskins was it was a needless clip.
That's true.
It was behind the play.
Exactly.
Pressure on Joe Theismann. Hammond gets the call to the 49-yard line, trying to catch Denver, thinking nothing but pass, but he is taken there after a gain of a couple of meaningless play as Theismann tries to get his offense quickly to the line of scrimmage. He only has 1 timeout. Harmon with the 42, and Theismann again will try and get a play off, but the seconds ticking now. Down close to 1 minute remaining. 1 minute and 4 seconds, and the clock is moving. 3rd down, 13. Theismann has to think of the 1st down. Fires complete. And Art Monk tries to get to his feet, but he is nailed there quickly by Louis Wright.
Well, now it's up to Mosley, and he's got a long way to go. And he has that terrible record so far this year.
Here they go.
It will be an attempt of about 57 yards.
Now, wait a minute now, Frank.
I'll back it up. It'll be about 52 yards.
52. Now, this is definitely in his range.
Oh,
and don't forget, we're at the Mile High Stadium in Denver.
Theismann the holder.
Could be overtime.
There's plenty of distance.
Didn't make it.
And off line. And the Broncos go crazy out on the field with 13 seconds remaining in the game.
Now that the game...
Look how close this field goal is. Plenty of distance. From here, it looks like it's going to go in.
It
has a slight little hook to it. Wait a minute. Look at that ball.
Last minute.
That is really cutting it close. It's what you call too bad for Washington.
Almost hitting the upright.
Yeah.
Mark Mosley wonders where it's all gone.
We said at the outset this Washington team is a better team than its record suggests. I think they proved it tonight.
I still don't know about Denver.
Neither do I.
I can't figure out what they, I know they've been hurt.
But they stay up there, Don, and they do it every year.
This is a game that was really important for them because right now they're only one game out of first.
The final seconds tick off, and Denver has set their record at 3-3. They're tied with Oakland and Seattle, trailing San Diego 4-2 in the Western Division of the AFC. And the Redskins, troubled throughout this young season with multiple injuries, have dropped a heartbreaker here at Mile High Stadium tonight. Season 2017. Mark Mosey, and no one feels it any more than Mark Mosey, will look again how close one can come in this game.
That's about as close as you can get, Shake. You got to figure that somebody or somewhere is not the night for you.
From 52 yards out, Mosley misses an attempt that would have tied it up and put this game into overtime. And Craig Morton, coming off the bench, performing well in relief of Matt Robinson, has notched another come from the bullpen victory for the Denver Broncos. And the battle continues to wage here in the Western Division of the AFC, with San Diego now one game ahead of Oakland, whom we'll see against Pittsburgh next Monday night. Once again, the final score, Denver 20, Washington 17. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional